Kep1er is a group that had everything to become super successful. They came from an Mnet show. They are pretty. They are talented. Some of the members are particularly loved and have a big following. But somehow things are not really going the way they should. Don't get me wrong. Kep1er are overall doing fine. Their sales are good. They are popular. One of the most popular rookies actually. So it's not like they are in a terrible situation or anything. But there are so many things that their company Wakeone is doing wrong. And this is not helping the group at all. They could all be shining so much more, but they're being held back. So let's talk about some of the problems that other people and I have noticed. If there's one thing that needs to improve with Kep1er is their promotions. And by promotions I don't necessarily mean their music promotions but other things such as reality shows appearances and the YouTube content they post. First and foremost, they should be on more variety shows. I've noticed that in comparison to other rookie groups, Kep1er doesn't really appear on variety shows that much. And with that I'm not saying they should guest on the most popular variety shows out there, because a lot of these variety shows only invite the groups they want. But the company should really send Kep1er on more shows even if they're not super popular ones. This is because I feel like Kep1er is not being targeted to the general public enough. They mostly put out content for their fans, but the general public could get really invested if the girls guested on some shows. Members like Hikaru and Wakeone have such entertaining personalities and they would definitely shine on these kinda shows. And like I said, it doesn't matter what shows. People in Korea just need to turn the TV on and see Kep1er. That's what needs to happen. But it doesn't, because Kep1er is mostly producing content for their fandom only. Their YouTube content is also not the best. Most of their videos are vlogs, games, and ASMR content. And I mean, this is cute and fun if you are a stan, but no one outside the fandom is gonna care enough to watch those things. They're not gonna bring in any new stans if they keep on releasing this type of content. If there is something they should do is releasing vocal covers, dance covers and rap covers, or even self-made choreographies and self-written raps. They have someone like Dayeon who is great at making choreographies and they have someone like Hikaru who writes her own raps. They should be putting those talents to use. That's the type of stuff that's gonna bring in new fans and attract people outside the fandom. Something that could help them gaining new fans would be having their own reality show on their YouTube channel. I'm gonna use 123 IVE as an example. IVE had his reality show since debut and it focused on many different things such as debut preparations, recording of songs, but also interesting activities and funny games. They went to an haunted house. They baked cakes. They went camping and things like that. If you take a look at the views for 123 IVE, they are pretty high, with all of the episodes surpassing 1 million views and some episodes even reaching 3 million views, meaning that many people were interested and watched the content, not just people who are already in the fandom. Kep1er should have a reality show like this one instead of doing random content. I'm sorry, but who cares about the members attempting ASMR? It's important for groups to establish an identity for themselves. When you hear their name you have to be able to envision what they represent. So in this case, you'd have to be able to envision what makes Kep1er Kep1er. Concepts are an important part for building a group's identity, but even when it comes to groups that frequently change concepts like Red Velvet, their music always feels very Red Velvet even if they switch concept. Another example is TXT. They have tried many different concepts but they never lost their identity. Even a group like Stacy that debuted more recently and did different concepts still managed to make all of their songs sound very Stacy. But this doesn't seem to be happening with Kep1er. It seems to me, and to many other people, like the company is just giving them random sounds and concepts, hoping one day they'll find something that fits them. They seem to be going for this teen crush kind of aesthetic and sound, but it doesn't really suit them. They have very cute members, and members that suit something more girl crush and mature. I feel like their concept is a bit too childish for some of the girls and they feel out of place. The problem with Kep1er is that they have limited time together, so they need to establish an identity faster compared to permanent groups that have a 7-year-long contract. I feel like something's missing, something that makes them Kep1er. Some Kep1er members don't shine, and it's not necessarily because they don't have lines. Even some members that get a fair amount of lines and screen time are not being used to the fullest. So let's see how they should be utilized in order to make them shine more. Dayeon, being the phenomenal dancer she is, should be getting a dance break that showcases her talents more. She's a main dancer who is so talented in creating choreographies as we've seen on Girls Planet and on Queendom. It would be nice if the company let her participate in the choreography making. And like I said, she should be getting a dance break. Hikaru is also a main dancer, and just like Dayeon, she should be getting a dance break. Actually, I would like to see both Hikaru and Dayeon sharing a dance break and showing everyone how amazing they are at dancing. Hikaru is also good at writing her raps, so she should partake in the rap making for some of Kep1er's songs. Wakeone is an all-rounder and shouldn't only be treated as one of the vocalists. I feel like she's only being used as a vocalist, but the company seems to forget she is also pretty damn talented when it comes to dancing and rapping. Not gonna lie, I'm kinda waiting for the day we'll get to hear rapper Wakeone again. Anyway, not only is she talented, she's also extremely funny and I feel like she should be sent on some variety shows. Now on to shouting. She's already an it girl, but her popularity is being wasted. Just like Wakeone, she should participate in variety shows and should be promoted more domestically. But despite how beautiful she is, she shouldn't only be treated as a visual. Let's not forget her dancing abilities. She's another member who should get a dance break or something like that. Another member who is being held back is Wakeone. Many people probably forgot she's a very good dancer and a very good vocalist, and that's because she doesn't get to show it in Kep1er. Unfortunately, there are many members who are being underutilized, and none of the members is being promoted individually. If we compared Kep1er to IZ*ONE, Wakeone and IOI, we can see that these other project groups really put an emphasis on promoting the members individually and not only in relation to the group. But with Kep1er this is not happening. I'm afraid that when they disband none of the members will have enough popularity on their own to make it big in their future careers. An exception may be being Wakeone, who is pretty popular in Korea. No group should waste time doing something that's not gonna benefit them, let alone a group that only is 2.5 years before disbandment. Let's not forget that Kep1er were supposed to debut back in December of 2021, but they had to postpone the debut to January because of COVID-19, so they already had to delay the start of their activities. Then they wasted so much time on Queendom, a show they didn't need to be on, a show that gave them nothing in the end. They didn't gain new fans through Queendom. Their talents haven't been acknowledged that much, and their participation was overall detrimental for them, both physically and emotionally. Overall, they are wasting time under so many aspects. They're wasting time with useless YouTube content that isn't bringing them any new fan. They are wasting time jumping from a concept to another without building an identity for themselves. They are wasting the girls' potential and they are wasting the opportunity for each of the girls to be promoted outside of the group in order for them to grow big individually as well. This last point regarding solo stands is something that's out of the company's control and there's no one to blame besides the fans themselves. Solo stands are not new to K-pop, let alone to survival show groups. It's kinda normal because the survival show mentality never leaves the fans, and they will always feel like their faves are competing with everybody else even if the show is already over. But I swear I've never seen as much toxicity in a fandom before. I've never seen such awful solo stands, and I stand IZ*ONE, a group that also came from a survival show and had its fair share of toxic solo stands, but nothing quite like Kep1er's. When Kep1er debuted I was much more into them than I am now, but as time went by, I distanced myself from them because of the unbearable toxicity, especially because I'm a Dayeon stan, and we all know that she's literally the main target for haters. There is a lot to unpack when it comes down to why certain members are hated, but basically Dayeon is hated because she's considered Mnet's favorite. Chaeyeon is hated because she's considered unworthy of the first place. Bahi is hated for being someone's sister, but Bahi solo stans aren't any better than Bahi's haters. Bahi solo stans want Kep1er to disband so bad and always play the victim card. What I wanna say is that in the end it's the company who decides which members get more lines, so hating on the members for having lines is completely stupid and pointless. But anyway, I don't wanna get into this whole solo stans discussion too much. All I'm gonna say is, solo stans are usually not a problem for groups as long as things are under control. But when it comes to Kep1er it's a mess. These solo stans don't wanna cooperate. Like I said, some of them just want the group to disband and wanna boycott it. And in the long run this is gonna damage the girls. Because if the fandom doesn't work together it's gonna be hard to stream and vote, and if the fandom is busy attacking each other, then you won't be able to properly defend the group from the haters and their attacks. So this situation is overall terrible for the group. In conclusion, Kep1er is being failed by their company. They're not being promoted as they should. Members are not being utilized to the fullest. The girls are not being promoted individually. Their time is being wasted on useless things and the fandom is tearing itself apart. I really don't know how this happened, to be honest. No other group to come out of an Mnet survival show had ever been in such a mess of a situation. And I wanna say, Kep1er are overall doing fine. It's not like they are underrated. It's not like they don't sell and nobody cares about them. Not at all. But they feel like a project that's not gonna end well. I'm kinda worried for their future after disbandment, to be honest. If the company changed the way they promote them though, things can definitely get better. Anyway guys, this was all I had to say, but I feel like I talked way too much. Feel free to let me know what you think. See you in the next video.